What's up guys, Richard again. Today in this video, it is now part 2. So part 2 on the Ford GT. Now, I did say I was gonna end it there for the Ford GT, like take a break and then continue on. But I decided instead I'll just continue on to where I left off to. Because like, I figured, I just want to like continue on where I'm at. So yeah. Let's continue on to where we left off to. So this is part 2 on the Ford GT. So here we go. So overview, production. So I'm gonna do the overview again just to make sure. So overview first. So here we go. So production is from June 28th, 2004 to September 30th, 2006. 4,038 were produced. Model years 2005, 2006. Assembly is in the U.S. at Wixom, Michigan, at the Wixom Assembly. So it's at the Wixom I can't even say. So it's at Wixom, which is spelled W-I-X-O-M, Michigan, and it's at the Wixom Assembly plant for the interior. And then Troy, Michigan, at the SSV Incorporated Body Paint Facility. And then Norwalk, Ohio, at Mayflower Vehicle Systems for the production and assembly. Then we got Romeo, Michigan, for the Ford Romeo plant. So for the Ford Romeo engine plant. So for the engine, is for both the engine and the gearbox. The designer is Camilo Pardo under J. Mays, also known as J. Carroll Mays, who is a retired American industrial designer who served as Group Vice President of Global Design and Chief Creative Officer at Ford Motor Company, and was Chief Design Officer at Whirlpool Corporation in Benton Charter Township. This was headquartered at in Michigan. His name is simply J after his grandfather, S.J. Mays. Alright, so designer Camilo Pardo under J. Mays. Next up is body and chassis. The body style is a two-door coupe, or two-door coupe. It's related to the Galpin Ford GTR 1, which is like a kind of a concept car for the Ford GT, a little bit. So related to the Galpin Ford GTR 1. Next up is powertrain. The engine is a 5.4 liter. So 5.4 liter supercharged Ford modular V8. For the transmission is a six-speed Ricardo manual. Dimensions is next. For the wheelbase is 1,000. Wheelbase is 2,710 millimeters, 106.7 inches. So dimensions, wheelbase is 2,710 millimeters, 106.7 inches. So wheelbase 2,710 millimeters, 106.7 inches. It says wheelbase. Length is 4,640 millimeters, 182.8 inches. So that's length. The width is 1,950 millimeters. Width 1,950 millimeters, 76.9 inches. Rounded up to 77 inches in total. The height is 1,092 millimeters, 43 inches approximately. They should have called it the GT43, because the last GT40 was called that because it was 40 inches tall. Reference from Top Gear, as Jeremy Clarkson said. Curb weight is 1,581 kilos, which is 3,485 pounds. Now we got the development. The Ford GT. So the Ford GT began life as a concept car designed in anticipation of the automaker's centennial year and as part of its drive to showcase and revive its heritage names such as Mustang and Thunderbird. At the 2002 so at the 2002 North at the 2002 North American International Auto Show. So 2002 North American International Auto Show, Ford unveiled a new GT40 concept car. Camilo Pardo, I want to say it in this accent, the then head of Ford's Living Legends studio. So the head of Ford's Living Legends studio is credited as the chief designer of the GT and worked under the guidance of J. Mays, Carroll Shelby, the original designer of the Shelby GT500, was brought in by Ford to help develop the GT, which included performance. So included performance testing of performance testing of the prototype car. While under development, the project was called Petunia, which is spelled P-E-T-U, so P-E-T-U N-I-A. Don't really know what it means, but whatever. The GT is similar in outward appearance to the original GT40, but is bigger, wider, and most importantly, 4 inches, 100 millimeters, so 4 inches, 100 millimeters taller than, 100 millimeters, so 100 millimeters, 4 inches taller than the original 100 centimeters, 40 inches overall height. As a result, a potential name for the car was the GT44. Although the cars are visually related, structurally, there is no similarity between the modern GT and the 1960s GT40 that inspired it. After 6 weeks from the unveiling of the GT40 concept, Ford announced a limited production run of the car. Three pre-production cars were shown to the public in 2003 as part of Ford's centenary celebrations, and delivery of the production version, called simply the Ford GT, began in the fall. It's like in the autumn of 2004. As the Ford GT was built as part of the company's 100th anniversary celebration, the left headlight cluster was designed to read 100. Now we got this next one, naming difficulties. So, a British company, Saphir Engineering, so this first name is spelled S-A-F-I-R, so S-A-F-I-R, and then engineering, who built continuation GT40 cars in the 1980s, owned the GT40 trademark at that time. When production of the continuation cars ended, they sold the excess parts, tooling, design, and trademark to the small Ohio-based company called Saphir GT40 Spares. This company licensed the use of the GT40 trademark to Ford for the initial 2002 show car. When Ford decided to put the GT40 concept to production stage, negotiations between the two firms failed, as Ford did not pay the $40 million did not pay the $40 million US dollars the owners of the name So the owners of the name, I can't even say, the owners of the name demanded. There we go. Thus, the production cars are simply called the GT. So, thus, the production cars are simply called the GT. Now we got production. The GT was produced for the 2005 and 2006 model years. The car began assembly at Mayflower Vehicle Systems, which is MVS in Norwalk, Ohio, and was painted, so both painted and continued assembly at Saline Special Vehicles, so it's SSV facility in Troy, Michigan, though so through contract by Ford. The GT is powered by an engine built at Ford's Romeo engine plant in Romeo, Michigan. Installation of the engine and gearbox, along with seats and interior finishing, was handled in the SVT building at Ford's Wixom, Michigan plant. So SVT stands for Special Vehicle Team, which I might talk about one day. So installation of both the engine and gearbox, along with seats and interior finishing, was handled in the SVT building. So SVT building at Ford's Wixom, Michigan plant. Of the 4,500 cars, of the 4,500 cars, so 4,500 cars originally planned, approximately 100 were to be exported to Europe starting in late 2005. An additional 200 cars were destined for sale in Canada. Production ended in September 2006 without reaching the planned production target. So without reaching the planned production target. There we go. Approximately 550 cars were built in 2004. Nearly 1,900 cars in 2005, and just over 1,600 cars in 2006, for a grand total of 4,038 cars. So 4,038 cars. The final 11 car bodies manufactured by Mayflower Vehicle Systems were disassembled, and the frames and body panels, and both the frames and body panels were sold as service parts. So service parts. The Wixom assembly plant has stopped production of all models as of May 31st, 2007. This was before the start of early June 2007. Sales of the GT continued into 2007 from cars held in storage and in dealer inventories. Now we got the Heritage Edition. Ford produced a total of 346 Heritage Editions. So Ford produced a total of 346 Heritage Editions, recognizable by the Gulf Oil inspired livery. So it's with the Gulf colors, so light blue and orange. The livery is in honor of the back-to-back wins of Ford at the 1966 and 1969 24 Hours of Le Mans by the GT40 Mark I. So that's good. Now we've got Ford GT US sales and world production totals from 2004 to 2006. So there's no sales from 2004, but we've got from 2005. So there's two rows, one from 2005 and 2006. So first off is 2005. So in January they sold 7, February 4, March 44, April 70, May 117, June 150, July 91, August 113, September 176, October 165, November 157, and December 208. So in total, they sold 1,302 cars. For production is 2,027 vehicles. Now we got 2006. So now we're in 2006. For January, 157. February, 194. March, 2004. Hold on. Wait. So this is 2006 round. There we go. January, 157. February, 194. March, 204. There we go. Said it right. April, 157. May, 178. June, 185. July, 147. August, 143. September, 133. October, 102. November, 261. And December, 58. With a grand total of 1,919 cars, which brings a grand total of 3,221 cars sold between those 2 years of 2005 and 2006 combined together. Now, for the production in total, in 2005, they sold 2,027 vehicles. And in production for 2006, they had 2,011 vehicles for a grand total. So the ones they sold in 2005, 1,302, and 2006, 1,919, is 3,221 for a grand total. In production, they sold 2,027 in 2005, and they sold 2,011 cars in 2006. So in total of those two numbers is a total of 4,038 cars. Imagine a year 2027. I wonder what that would be like. I would be like 22, like 22 years old. Like in my early 20s it would be. That was crazy. So a grand total is 3,221. For production is 4,038. All right, now we got sales. Well, this is an important one. Sales and marketing. When the Ford GT was first announced, the demand outpaced supply, and the cars initially sold from premium prices. The first private sale of Ford's new mid-engine sports car was completed on August 4th, 2004, when former Microsoft executive John Shirley took delivery of his Midnight Blue 2005 Ford GT. Shirley earned the right to purchase the first production Ford GT chassis number 10 at a charity auction at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. So Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance auction after bidding over $557,000 in Pebble Beach, California. A few other early cars sold for as much as early cars sold for as much as a $100,000 premium over the suggested retail price of $139,995. Round up is close to $140,000 in total. Optional equipment available included a Macintosh. Can't really say it well. It's like saying Macintosh almost, but Macintosh. I can't really say it well, but it's spelled, or Macintosh. I don't know how you say it, but it's spelled MCIN. So it's spelled MCINTOSH. And then sound system, racing stripes, painted brake calipers, and BBS forged alloy wheels, adding $13,500 to the MSRP, which is the manufacturer state retail price. Next up is both performance and engineering. The Ford GT features many technologies unique as its time. So the Ford GT features many technologies unique at its time. So at its time, including a superplastic formed frame, aluminum body panels, roll bonded floor panels, a friction stir welded center tunnel, covered by a magnesium center console, a ship in a bottle gas tank, a capless fuel filler system, one-piece panels, and an aluminum engine cover with a one-piece carbon fiber inner panel. Brakes are four-piston aluminum Brembo calipers with cross-drilled indented rotors or discs at all four corners. When the rear canopy is opened, the rear suspension so both the rear suspension components and engine are visible. So in other words, you can actually see them both. Speaking of the engine, we're on it now. The 5.4 liter longitudinal. So the 5.4 liter longitudinally rear mounted modular. So the 5.4 liter the 5.4 liter longitudinally rear-mounted modular V8 engine is an all-aluminum alloy engine with an Eton 2300 Lasham screw-type supercharger. It features a forged rotating assembly housed in an aluminum block designed specifically for the car. A dry sump oil system is employed, allowing the engine to sit low in the car's frame. The dual overhead cam, the DOHC or dual overhead cam 4 valves per cylinder heads are a revision of the 2000 Ford Mustang SVT Cobra R. I'm going to talk about this Mustang as well. Oh. So the DOHC, or the dual overhead cam 4 valves per cylinder heads, are a revision of the 2000 Ford Mustang SVT Cobra R cylinder heads with slightly increased wall casting thickness in the exhaust port. The camshafts have unique specifications with more lift and duration than those found in the Shelby GT500. Power output is 550 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 678 Newton meters, 500 pound-feet of torque at 4,500 RPM. A Ricardo 6-speed manual gearbox is fitted, featuring a helical limited slip differential. Car and driver tested the GT in January 2004 and recorded a 0 to 100 km an hour, 0 to 60 mile an hour acceleration time of 3.3 seconds. Now we got performance. So top speed was 330 kilometers an hour, which is 205. So top speed 330 kilometers an hour, 205 miles an hour. Same top speed as a Carrera GT. So 205 miles an hour. The quarter mile time was 11.8 seconds. Doesn't say at what speed though. So the 0 to 100 km an hour, 0 to 60 mile an hour So 0 to 60 miles an hour was 3.8 seconds. But that's when they tested it. So 0 to 60 was in 3.8 seconds. The 0 to 200 km an hour, 0 to 124 mile an hour was 12.3 seconds. That would be like a quarter mile time, 12.3 seconds, I don't know. And the 0 to 300 kilometers an hour, 0 to 186 miles an hour in 44.3 seconds. Now we got fuel consumption. Now, I know this might not be interesting to all of you, but others might be kind of interested. So I figured I'll do it as well. Fuel consumption. Because I know the fuel consumption in that GT was just not really good. So the US EPA, or the United States Environmental Protection Agency, so the United States Environmental Protection Agency mileage estimates for the GT is 12 miles per gallon. Um, So the fuel consumption is around now. The United States Environmental Protection Agency mileage estimates for the GT is 12 miles per gallon, 20 liters, 100. So 20 liters, 100 kilometers in city driving, and 19 miles per gallon, 12 liters, 100 kilometers in highway cruising, for a combined 14 miles per gallon, 17 liters, so 100 kilometers. So I don't really get this. I don't really understand all this whole MPG stuff or fuel consumption and whatnot. I did this before in college, but I don't go to college anymore. So yeah, I'm not really good at like this kind of fuel consumption stuff. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of scientific, to really know. All right, so now we're on other media. The GT won Top Gear's gas guzzler of the Year award in 2005. One of the show's presenters, Jeremy Clarkson, owned the GT, and despite initially reversing high acclaim for the vehicle, ultimately requested a refund from Ford due to extensive problems with the car's aftermarket alarm system. During the GT's production run, the car was featured on the cover of the video game Gran Turismo 4, 2004. As well, and was also featured in Need for Speed Carbon 2006 and Need for Speed Pro Street 2007, as well as being made into physical form in the Transformers Alternators toy line, which featured realistic car tuning into Cybertronians. The Ford GT mold was used for the characters Mirage and Rodimus. Now we got a standing mile speed record. Modified versions of the Ford GT have established several speed records, including the standing mile. One modified version broke the record for fastest street legal vehicle. The vehicle used in the record run is street legal and registered for road use in the USA, achieved by a highly modified twin turbo version of the original 5.4 liter V8, rated at approximately 2,500 horsepower with a top speed of 483.4 kilometers an hour, which is, get ready for it, this might take your breath away, 300.4 miles an hour, set in Texas in March 2019. Alright, now last up we got is the Ford GTX-1. The Ford GTX-1 is an aftermarket roadster iteration of the Ford GT introduced by the company at the 2005 SEMA show. The car was built by Mark Gerisch. I can't really say it well, but it's spelled Gerisch, owner of Gennady Design Group from Green Bay, Wisconsin, with almost like Green Bay as in like Alabama accent almost, or Texas. Anyway, from Green Bay, Wisconsin, with assistance from Ford. Kip Ewing, a development engineer who had been involved in the development of the GT and conceived the idea, supervised the project. The resulting chassis is 10% less stiff than the standard GT. The design was inspired by the open-top GT40, which was conceived in the 1960s. The car had a modified engine cover, modified doors with roof portions removed, and a central removable roof bar. Two roof pieces could be installed and removed when the roof bar was installed, making the car a T-top. A canvas roof panel would be installed when the roof bar was removed. The car had headrests inspired from the Porsche Carrera GT, my dream hypercar. The car received a positive response at the show, and customers urged Ford to build this version of the GT. But the end of the production of the GT in the forthcoming year meant that it would be expensive to produce. Another limited variant of the car. The GTX-1 was offered as a kit by the body shop, adding $38,000 to the price of a standard Ford GT. The involvement of Ford in the process meant that the warranty and other obligations of the car were unaltered. A total of 100 orders for the GTX-1 were received and completed over a 2-year planned production period. These including the exact copies of the SEMA show car. Other modifications on the GTX-1 included race seats, a customized interior, new Willwood brakes, a hidden rear bumper, and a maximum power increased to 700 horsepower. 700 horsepower. The GTX-1 was featured in various automotive publications along with several reviews. All right, and that will be it for today. So for my next Ford GT video, it's going to be about the modern Ford GT. So from like the mid-late 2010s, so like 2016 to 2022. So for my next Ford GT video, it's going to be about the second generation Ford GT for part 2. So after that, I have just got racing, and then that'll be it. So yeah, so that's gonna end it there. So if you guys like this video, like and subscribe, comment down below what you guys think, hit the notification bell and hit all so you are alerted of when I make new uploads. Alright, so that's gonna end it there. I'll see you guys soon in the next video, but until then, stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you guys soon in the next video. Take care, folks. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.